Okay, my friends, if you didn't see my just recent video about the source of the Nile, I showed the Earth is literally Gaia. I'm sorry, it is literally Gaia. And after I had discovered that the Earth was Gaia, I understood also that Interstitium is the same as the Mars Morse code. Let me show you that, because all everything I have found is biology, 100%. The Earth is 100% biological, and I showed that, and I showed that 5 years ago in a video saying we're in trouble, and we're still in trouble, and we're in terrible trouble now. But let me show you Mars and the Mars Morse code. All right, this is interstitium, and that is exactly what the Mars Morse code is. And in a couple of areas, it's pushed together like the skin is pushed this way, and a couple of areas, the skin is pulled that way. And it's abraded away. The layer of skin is gone, and now you're down to like this layer below, which is what's called the interstitium. Now this is the interstitium that's up on Mars. This is a Mars Morse code. I'm not exactly sure of the size we're talking about, but it's pretty damn big. And that is the skin crunched together, stretched apart, stretched apart. Now, why are we missing the straps, and why is that elongated? Because it's so stretched. Now, where it gets real stretched and it's rising up, apparently, it's eroded and it's like literally sandblasted. The last thing to go are the balls. The balls are the anchors. The straps give and shove, but they all come back to their anchors, basically. You can pull them, they come back. You pull them, they can come back. That's the way your skin works. Otherwise, it'd stay there. You know, mine does now. But it's supposed to come back. You know, as you get older, the straps don't work that well anymore. And I'm not sure about, you know, I would love to do a lot of research on this because I could see things now nobody's ever seen before. As a matter of fact, nobody knew about the interstitium. Nobody knew this even existed. I'm serious. All right, I just want you to know, really honestly, they didn't have any clue about this. This is a newfound organ, 2018 interstitium. And it's because they never realized it was there. And I got to tell you, I think it's because of the research I was doing, seeing things that were not compressed and in slides, but fully, almost like taking a body and cutting it in pieces and looking at it while it was still alive. That's my stuff. And I was posting all about this, and now all of a sudden they say they found this new organ. But I know this is on every one of my samples, specimens, is this interstitium. It's actually fascia. It's really fascia. And but it's on every single membrane and organ and muscle and all of that stuff, and it keeps it separated from the other layers inside of you, so you don't all glue together in one big blob. But it all also has to be able to stretch and come back. This is what this does. It's an anchored fabric that can give and come back and give and come back, but the balls are going to be where it's going to give and then come back to. Basically, that's about the best I can say. Now, I know this is probably going to be a little upsetting to some people to hear about that Gaia was really, in fact, true, and she gave birth to the Titans. And I believe all of these things were true. The giants, I know absolutely no question about the giants, and the sea gods, and all of these things that were recorded in the ancient maps and all these things. They're showing them all over the place. And I'm sure they were killed off because they literally were monsters. Now, Gaia created them. This is just what happened. Well, let me put it this way. This is what I think happened from the research that I've done. Now, what does that mean to us? Well, here's what it means to me. Hesiod was told to write the history of the Earth, and everything went back to Gaia and all of because he didn't know any of this stuff. He was told to write it by these three, basically angels. And it's about she lay with heaven and the swirling oceans, and she gave birth to Hyapetus and all. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And 50-headed creatures and 100-armed creatures and the Cyclopses, and they cut his testicles off. And anyway, it ends up Zeus. Zeus takes over. He is is the tough guy. He defeated Zeus defeated the Titans. Afterward, Gaia, in union with Tartarus, bore the youngest of her son Typhon, who would be the last challenge to the authority of Zeus. Well, guess what Typhon was? Well, let's see who he was. Typhon was a monstrous serpentine giant. Right? A snake. He was a monstrous serpentine giant. And he's the one that tried to wrestle Zeus for control of the universe. All right, so that's who Typhon was. And she was the last one, he was the last one to challenge the authority of Zeus. Well, who is Zeus? He was the one that fought for this solar system or this cosmos or whatever it is. But when I see Zeus and I see he's fighting against a giant serpent who is a nasty, monstrous thing, and I mean monstrous and nasty, and Zeus, I took French, and J-E, means I. Zeus, I Zeus, Jesus. Maybe it was Jesus fighting against Typhon, and Jesus was the God of our universe. Now, is that affect your religious views? I don't know, but I can tell you one thing right now: everything is here. It all came from somewhere, and it's all written in the Bible about chaos and all this business, and that's exactly what it says in Hesiod's version of the origin of our universe, of our solar system, our cosmos. But then it goes on to get kind of crazy. I mean, it really is. I'm sorry. All I am, like I said, I have no answers. All I can show you is evidence. Now, the evidence, does it point to something? I don't know. But this goes on and on and on. Now, there's a, let's see, are we in Gaia here? Yeah, here we go. This is the descendants of Gaia, and these are the family tree. They could create their own gods right out of their own body. I think Zeus created Athena right out of his own head or something. Somebody did. I forget what it was. I think it was Zeus created Athena right out of his forehead. And that angered somebody, and she had to create, and angered Hera, and she created Hephaestus. Something like that. All right, boy, maybe it's, yeah, okay, here's what it is. Zeus, on his own, created Aphrodites. That's, I think, what it is. And look, see, these had no father. These were Gaia having with her son, Uranus. And it goes on and on and on and on. But the one that's the killer here is Typhon. And he's the one that's going after, to me, Zeus, which is Jesus, or Jesus. Possibly. I'm just throwing these things out. But this is all really, really, really crazy stuff. And it goes on and on and on and on. And these are the monsters and animals that were created. And these were lesser giants, but some of them are actually moons. Some of them are actually moons, like Iapetus is a moon. All of these things, it's just, look. The Titans, oceans, Crius, Iapetus. Iapetus was a Titan. Let me show you Iapetus. Well, here's Iapetus. It was a Titan, the son of Uranus and Gaius, the father of Atlas and all this stuff. He was also called the father of whoever that is, and Achille, and other sources. Iapetus has been equated with Japheth, the son of Noah. Well, let's see what it is in Iapetus is a moon. In Hesiod's Works and Days, Prometheus is addressed as son of Iapetus, and no mother is named. I can tell you one thing right now. Iapetus is a tendon ball. Well, I'll show you. All right, this is a tendon ball. These are the attachments. That's the equatorial ridge, they call it. And this is inside of muscle, and that is a tendon ball. These were the anchors. Now, let me show you Iapetus. You see, that's exactly identical. That's that ridge, the equatorial ridge, and there's the tendon. And it's identical. It's in the same spot near the ridge. Absolutely identical. Now, there's Tetches. This is another one of Gaia's offspring, one of the titans. There's the two spots coming in. Now, I don't know what that is. The tendon balls aren't all the same. Very rarely do they have that ridge. That I do see that occasionally, but more often you just have this, and then you have a bunch of other attachments. Sometimes that will be attached to another something, whatever it was. But I'm telling you right now, these are all biological. They missed everything. Okay, my friends, I must admit I have become totally lost in this presentation. Hopefully so far it's made some sort of sense. Now we're going to get into some of my specimens. And some of the things you can see in my specimens, they can't even see when they do an autopsy. I don't even know if they realize that muscle wraps like this. You see how this wraps? You see these little holes and things? That's glue. This section right here is glue. Literally glue. That glues this muscle to this tendon. All right, they know it happens, but I don't know if they know that it happens in this manner. That's literally wrapped in a circle right in there. And this can erode out of there. I have a friend, Tyson, who has a location that he's found a place exactly like that, eroded just like that, only he's got monsters. They erode and they leave those little cups like. Now, anyway, like I say, I'm totally lost in this presentation, so it's going to come, it might come in crazy ways, but hopefully some of it will have meaning. You see that? That's Comet 67P. They sent a lander up there. The particles that they sampled are identical to organic molecules that are blood and so forth. And they admit it. Now, that is a bundle of tendinous material that came up. You see these little pinches, little pinch. That's, each one of these is like a bundle. Now, these are also tendon fibrils. These here are fibrils. That whole neck came up from a tendon implant, which was a ball that stuck down into something. And all these are little anchors, little anchor spots. And there would be like flesh up to here, and then that would come out to support some huge muscle. That's what this is. You get any anatomist, if they're any good at all, they'll know. And I can show it right here, right in my own shop, my friends. Right there. You see the tendon? Just what I showed you over there. You see the tendon? Whoops, there's my finger there. That's the tendon. That's the tendon right there, and I showed you it over there. And this, it runs down to the muscle. This is the muscle right here. Okay, let me back out here a little bit. And then the muscle ends up showing the bundles at the end. You see the bundle fibers at the end? They break off like this. Oops, again, I can't show my fingers. Right at the very ends, the bundles break off. That's what we're looking at right here. Exactly the same stuff. The fibers are coming straight up as the tendons. And these are the muscle, they could be muscle bundles, or they could be muscle or tendons at that point, but they're very close to the anchor spot. An anchor spot is there. Whoops, you can't see that, can you? Well, let me show you. Let me explain it to you. See this here? Those are what locks this in. There would have been some kind of flesh at about this point. And then that is what I showed you before, the bundle that runs up to, a leg muscle. I'm almost certain, because this, I'm almost certain, is an Achilles tendon. Now you see how all these things are shooting up like this? And then some of them here are shooting out like that, and some over here like this, and this one's shooting inside it. Well, why is that? Well, the reason is because when it hits the sunlight, it's being literally cooked. Literally cooked. What you're seeing is the gassing off of the transition metals and all that stuff. Because the astronauts say when they go out in space and they come back in and take their spacesuits off, it smells like steak. You see that? That is being boiled out. There's a big heavy-duty blood vessel right there. And when they face at the sun, now, you see how you can see it's facing right at the sun, that spot. Now, these got to be just catching little edges of them here. But wherever it hits, it's going to boil out. That's not just because it's plowing through whatever, there's supposed to be nothing out there anyway. But it's not because it's trailing a trail of just dust. That is smoke. Literally smoke. And again, well, all right, here it is right here. Space smells like burning metal or steak when they go out and they come back in and they take their suits off. Well, the reason is because space is loaded with these transition metals, which are from blood, which is being boiled off, as I will show you or have. And then I showed some of my mud fossil samples here. By the way, you see this? This is muscle. And it's tying into the glue that glues it to the tendon. See, that's the tendon. And then the tendon anchors it to the bone. That's how muscles work. These are the muscles that do this. This is where it glues in. That's the glue. And this is the tendon that takes it from the muscle into the, and locks it in. You can see it. It's very, very obvious. Now, you see this little loop? That loop, and this loop here, and this loop? That's how muscle loops into this. This is the glue. Right here is the glue. And you would call that an abrupt transition. I don't know, I shouldn't go through this. I've got all kinds of information about this. This is what I studied. And that's the blood layer of blood. This is the muscle. That's the glue with the transition between the tendon and the muscle. And then over here you have whatever it locked into some bone or something. Anyway, I don't know how I got onto that, but this is my passion. And this is how I started. And this is how I understood what's happening on Earth. And the Earth is made out of this stuff. This is, you go down the Colorado River through the canyons and so forth, that's exactly what this is. The Earth is a creature made of creatures. I'm sorry, that's just a fact. All right, basically, one of these blood vessels in here somewhere is almost like the Mars crab. And this is the Mars crab. Hold on. Okay, here's the Mars crab, right there. There's the Mars crab. It's in here. And it's amongst this, which is nothing more than muscle tissue. These are sarcomeres. You see these little divisions and these little striations? That's how muscles pull like that. This, which is here, is the feeder. This feeds with the oxygen and the red blood and the nutrition and so forth into the muscle. Then it returns into the vein, and the vein has none of these little feeders. It comes back up to the heart and lungs and so forth to get reoxygenated. This was some kind of giant creature on Mars. It was everywhere. It was there is nothing but life. As far as I could determine, I'm looking at Comet 67P, 100% biology. Absolutely 100%. Any anatomist look at that, they will know in 2 seconds exactly what it is. And any anatomist that looks at this, that is willing to be honest, will know in 2 seconds. And all of the things that I show are so obvious that only somebody that is completely incompetent or is fraudulently lying can dismiss them. You know, when I say dismiss them, I don't mean to be arrogant. I don't mean to be, nasty or any of that, demeaning. But to say that there is nothing here that should be examined. And that is really all I've gotten is a complete denial that any of this either exists or I don't know what they're thinking. But there's not a single person that is supposedly an expert, or the ones at NASA, JPL. I've tried everybody, literally everybody, and not a single one of them will communicate back to me. And if they don't see any merit to what I'm showing, I want them to say that to me. I want to say, we don't say, I want somebody to put their name on that. And that won't happen anymore because they know I'm right. And now they're just hiding. It's literally hiding. I'm sorry. Again, here I go being nasty. I can't help it. What am I supposed to do? I tried being nice. When I first started, I said, I'm just an idiot. I have no idea what I'm doing, but look at this stuff. Here's all this reality. Here's CAT scans. Here's DNA. Here's giant human beings. Here's all these things. No. I wanted to give it to somebody. They wouldn't even take it. So what am I supposed to do? I'm not running away from it. They're the ones that can run. It ain't gonna be me running. Alright, I want you to look at this. Now, if we drained all these fluid-filled bags out of here and we put some special lotions in here to preserve these fibers, and then we drilled a hole in there and we pulled at that hole, you would see these fibers. Well, let's take a look at my belt. Alright, I believe you should be able to see that. Alright, now I'm going to be moving my belt around to where we can see exactly what I just said. Now, we are in the midst of the belt, and here's the fibers. You can see the fibers running back and forth from these black balls. Now I'm going to go up here a little bit to where, see this here? That's where one of the belt holes is. And that was where the little tab went through, and it pulls at the fibers as the belt would pull, you know, just like your skin does on you. If I pulled on one side of my skin, it stretches out like this, and you see these fibers elongate. Now they only elongate where they're being pulled at. You see, like this is right near the edge where they're being pulled at, they elongate. I might be able to find some other good spots, but this is what you see right near the edge. Now, if you gather your skin up, it's going to come up all bunched up like this. Okay, that's a bunched up skin, that's fine. But when you pull at it, it ends up being like this. It starts to stretch out. You see it? That's how the pulliness of the skin is. Now, let me show you Mars crab. Not the Mars crab, the Mars Morse code. All right, now don't forget what we just looked at is that, only it's like pulled in this area. And then in other areas like here, it's not pulled, you see? Every now and then you'll see a spot that's pulled because I'm up near where the holes are. But that's where the holes are. And you can see all of those fibers. And those are the little white fibers. All right, and then there's the black balls. And then there's the red fibers. Just like I showed you on the thing below here. All right, so we have the whitish looking fibers, collagen, then we have the darker fibers, then we have the balls. And this is exactly what it is. That is interstitium of skin. And this is skin that's been stretched out, and then those straps are braid off, because these are the brown looking ones. The white ones are apparently completely gone. The brown ones are still attached to the balls. It appears that the white ones are sort of filaments in between, and the brown ones are the ones that attach to the balls, but the white ones are pretty much gone. Now, if you home in real close in here, you can see this. The white ones might make the bed. I don't know. There's a lot of work to be done here to look at it. But this is what they call the Morse code. Now, they have no idea how this formed, and that is gathered skin, sort of normalish skin, and then stretched skin. It's stretched out this way and stretched out this way. Now, down at the bottom here, it's eroded because these are less durable than the balls. The balls lock in and they stay pretty much. They're the most durable of the interstitium. But there's three levels of durability. And the least durable appears to be the white, and it's gone. That's all I could take from this. But I'm going to tell you right now, there's no question in my mind, that is interstitium. And there is also the Mars crab up there, which is nothing more than an artery and a vein servicing muscle, which is the sarcomeres. All right. This is over 5 years ago. I did this. The Earth is alive, completely living, and in trouble. And these are the blue holes that are the digesters that digest the things that are on the Earth and flush them into the ocean, as I show in this video 5 years ago. Now, before I get into it, I just want you to know, I tried to be very submissive and demure and try to put it on to somebody that should have paid attention. They didn't pay attention. That's why I started to get nasty, and I started to get kind of nasty. I can't help it. Yeah, hello. I'm coming to you today with some information that I stumbled across. I'm not an expert at anything. I study fossils and deep earth geology, and you know how petroleum is sublimated out, and the processes of the transitions of rocks and things like that in the earth. It's just sort of boring stuff, but I found some very, very interesting stuff, and as a result of that, I started to investigate how the earth is creating these things and what these things are and so forth. And what you see here are blue holes, and these blue holes are all over the earth. And those holes, I've come to find out, and I have the supporting evidence, and I'm sure it's correct. You know, I'd certainly like to have it looked at. It could be wrong, but I'd like to see somebody come up with a contradictory, factual disagreement. And if it is right, it becomes critically important. Now, these holes, I believe, are the digesters for the earth. Those are the things that feed the earth, and the earth, I'm pretty sure, is alive. All right, now this goes back over 5 years ago. Now, what happened after at this point was I was contacting people, trying to find anybody, and I found a Japanese guy that was talking about these sinkholes. They were trying to figure out why they're happening, because they're all over the world, and they're getting worse and worse and worse. A guy got swallowed down in Florida right around this time. Go on, just what's happening is they're caving in because we're taking all the pressure out of the ground from fracking, from pulling all the fluids out, from all the petroleum, all that stuff. That was a pressurized thing. Now, here in the ocean, it's not. It's a little different. But on land, they're collapsing. They're on the land too. So what happened was this Japanese guy, I got a hold of him, and he was nice guy. And he said, yeah, you're right. It's not what I thought. Because he was thinking all of this was just from sediment, you know, erosion. It's not. They're just perfectly round holes. And they're all over. So anyway, the Russians had contacted him, and he said, contact me. And they did. And I told him, I said, here's what's going on. And it's from fracking and drilling and pulling all the fluids out of the earth, and the pressure is, the tundras are getting, because this in Russia, they had the tundra is collapsing. There was only, at the time that I talked to them, there's 13 of these holes. Now, I don't know, I think there was like, at this point, there was like 20 of them. But, and they were getting real concerned, and I said, there's nothing you can do. Now there's thousands. But this is what happens. See, in the wintertime, they do this, and these little balls show up because they're literally blood vessels. I know I know it sounds crazy, but the Earth is alive. All of the planets are alive. Everything that ever was alive, it appears. And it's all biological. As far as I could determine, 100% biological. Now, you can turn them into products. You can turn them into, you know, clay and mud and stone and all that stuff. Absolutely. But its origin was biology. And I believe biology is the thing that decides how these molecules clump together. And it actually is the creator of the clumping. Not just that they end up congealing together for no reason. The only way I can think of that all these things are creating the exact particles that they create is that life itself needs these certain quantities of particles in certain areas to do certain jobs, and it actually directs them there. And I think bacteria literally is the thing that controls a lot, because bacteria is bound into all your membranes. I believe it's in every membrane there is what it is. That's the way I understand it. Bacteria is in the membranes, and that is what keeps that membrane, mucus on that membrane, so that it can separate it from other biology in your body, so this bone doesn't become part of your muscle. I know that's what it does inside your intestines and your throat and your nose and all that stuff. That's all bacteria in there. And you know, it's all in your organs, and it converts all kinds of products into other products, because enzymes create bacteria create enzymes. Enzymes are catalysts, and what I mean by a catalyst, it's like it breaks down literally millions of other molecules in 1 second. It's a speed breaker. A catalyst makes the molecular breakdown go just like rocket ship fast, and you have to be able to break up these molecules in order to use them in the body. You can't use them if they can't be broken. You have to break them and add something to them, take something away. That's how the body works. If you don't have the right bacteria, you're in trouble. And that's what a lot of people don't have the right bacteria right now. That's why a lot of people are what they call, they have immunodeficiencies. And so they may be allergic to something because they can't break it down. They literally can't break it down. It comes through their body. It affects your body because the bacteria that's supposed to be there, no enzymes. Maybe you had antibiotics, maybe something else. But right now you have nothing to disassemble what is coming through your body. Every single molecule goes through your body has to be disassembled, or else it just passes through. I mean, there's stuff just passes through and nothing happens to it. Yes, absolutely. But if you're going to get anything out of it, you got to break it down. I mean, that's just the way it is. Your body doesn't work. You can't take that and say, give me one of these and I'll eat it and it'll just do what it's supposed to do. Absolutely not. It's got to be in little tiny bitty pieces called molecules. And the molecules are the tiniest little bits, like these little things right here. And they float around through your body, and they are literally magnetic. Boop! So I need that. It makes that little thing, and that's I don't know what it is, but it does something in your body good or bad. Because they both do the same thing. The molecules can hurt you, or they can fix you. If you need oxygen, and this is cyanide or whatever, something, you're done. If you need zinc, and you get cadmium, you got an issue. All right? Or if you need zinc, and you need the molecule that goes over and says, okay, click, I can break the zinc by coming in, and you don't have that molecule. Why don't you have the molecule? Because you don't have the enzymes. Why don't you have the enzymes? Because you don't have the bacteria. Why don't you have the bacteria? Because you got antibiotics, more than likely. You see how? That was pretty cool. Anyway, that's the way it works, my friends. I guess that was a little bit of a ramble, but that's what I do sometimes.